Welcome back in. It's hour number 2 of Three-Man Front on this Tuesday. Pat and Molly in the studio, high atop Red Mountain in downtown Birmingham. Meanwhile, Landrum, Conrad, Social Taco there in Homewood. Landrum, a great crowd already assembled there. The doors just opened up moments ago. You guys will be there until 2 o'clock.
Yeah, we have another friend that just showed up, Scotland Ben.
Alabama, big Alabama fan.
Big Alabama fan.
Very cool to have new faces here every week.
If you've never heard someone who speaks with a Scottish accent say Roll Tide, we have.
All right, go by and see the guys. They'll be there until 2 o'clock. Joining us now on the Higginbotham Hotline, needless to say, I'm sure that it has been one of the busier times that Michael Borkey over at Sports Talk Mississippi, those guys just do an outstanding job every single weekday afternoon. And Michael, needless to say, the Lane Kiffin talk, I'm sure you're pretty much almost done talking about it.
Yeah, we changed the name of our show to Kiffin Talk Mississippi. What do you guys think?
Not bad.
That's
bad.
A winner.
Not bad at all. Well, Michael, I want to go back a couple of weeks because obviously when the Florida job came open, everybody from a national college football perspective, they said, okay, well, they're going to go hot and heavy after Lane Kiffin, kind of like Auburn did a couple of years ago. So once that came open, in regards to your thought process with him maybe being the number one target there, did many Ole Miss people believe that this was going to be the year that he would maybe test the waters and go elsewhere?
If they didn't make the playoff, yes. And that's what we talked about right away is, especially after the Oklahoma game, our thought process was that was a big win for Ole Miss, not just because you went to Norman and won a game and you're in position to make the playoffs, but that's the kind of game that you win that can keep your coach, because there's no way that a coach would consider leaving a playoff team. And they're going to be favored in every game for the rest of the season. So when they went to Norman and won, it was like, hey, look, these jobs are open, but again, there's no way a coach is going to leave a playoff team and Ole Miss is going to make the playoffs. And sure enough, they had a coach that left the playoff team. He was always going to leave unless they made the playoffs, and he did it anyway. This was going to be the year. So, I said last week that kind of the worst thing to happen to Lane Kiffin himself was winning that Oklahoma game, because it did put him in this spot that he found himself in where he chose to leave a playoff team. Had they lost that game, they're probably on the outside looking in, and it makes the breakup a lot cleaner.
Michael, what have you learned or been reminded of about one Lane Kiffin here in the last 3 weeks with the way that all of this has played out?
Well, what's interesting, guys, is, he has the history, right? And it's no secret what happened at Alabama when he was taking the FAU job. Everybody sees the visual of him in the hallway when he left Tennessee, getting left at top. Everybody knows his history. I didn't expect it to be this destructive after he has chosen to leave. This is a new thing in the Lane Kiffin saga that I didn't think anybody was actually capable of, because it's not just that he left Ole Miss. LSU's a better job than Ole Miss is. I think that's an objective reality. It's threatening your offensive and defensive staff. If you don't get on the airplane with me tomorrow, you will not work for me ever again. That kind of stuff. It was, after the Oklahoma game, after they won, he had polled his staff at the time and said, all right, who's coming with me? The destructive nature of all of this, and especially at the very end, his team's leadership council, the reporting on that is 100% accurate. I've spoken to a representative of a player on the leadership council. They tried to talk to Lane. They tried to ask him, hey, stop this with the offensive staff. Please let them coach us. He wouldn't respond to their calls. He basically ghosted his own players, and it's a bizarre way to leave a place that you put 6 really good years into. So you knew he was erratic. You knew he was what he was. I didn't think he'd be willing to walk away from a playoff team and be as destructive as he has been since his departure.
Michael, I wanted to ask, are you surprised, and I'm sure you've heard all of the great Lane Kiffin stories, I guess hearing him over the last month and now that he's taking the LSU job, it certainly feels like there's some bitterness there with the way things ended at Ole Miss, not being able to stay around for the playoff, things like that, are you surprised kind of by the angle that Lane Kiffin has taken through this whole process? Because it appears to me that he seems to think he's blameless in all of this. I didn't know if that was surprising to you or if that is just Lane Kiffin being Lane Kiffin, and that's not a big surprise.
The victim part of this, that doesn't surprise me at all. He really does. It's obvious that he feels like he did nothing wrong and that he has been wronged, especially privately. Now, he said some of the right things in his press conference yesterday, did take some subtle shots. By the way, nobody ran him off the road on the way to the airport yesterday. That didn't happen. He had a police escort. That's not a thing that happened. But he thought that he would be able to convince Ole Miss to let him coach the playoff, despite weeks ago being told that that's not an option. He had a massive extension on the table in front of him with money for players and everything. I mean, Ole Miss said yes to every single demand, but the only thing Keith Carter was not going to allow was him to coach the playoff, and he's known that for weeks. And so when he stands behind the podium yesterday and says, they didn't tell me until Saturday that I wasn't going to be allowed, it's not true. That was always part of the discussion. He feels wronged by this, and, I mean, I just can't wrap my mind around the idea that anybody can think that it would be appropriate for Ole Miss to let a permanent rival who you recruit against and everything that will be in your stadium next September to allow their coach to be in your facility for at a minimum of 3 weeks on signing day, building his staff during the tampering period. And is anybody convinced that he would actually give you maximum effort into the playoff game anyway? It's just a non-starter. And yeah, very clearly feels like he's been wronged here, and he is acting like somebody that feels like Ole Miss was the enemy now, or the enemy before he actually left.
Michael Borkey joins us from Sports Talk Mississippi, talking about the Lane Kiffin situation heading to LSU. Michael, how shocked were you and most people in the state of Mississippi being able to watch Rivalry Week and see the likes of Nick Saban, Kirk Herbstreit, and Booger McFarland chastise Ole Miss for not even allowing Lane Kiffin the opportunity to coach his team?
Well, we got a little insight of that yesterday where Kiffin heavily implied that Nick Saban told him to take the job. So there's a 1+1 element there. It's fascinating because I would love to ask Kirk Herbstreit in particular, hey, Kirk, if Ryan Day was leaving for Michigan and he took the Michigan job, would you be okay with him coaching Ohio State for the next month? I think there's still a thought that it's little Ole Miss. And that Ole Miss should be looked at differently than that of an Alabama and an LSU. And don't get me wrong, Alabama and LSU have trophies and Heismans and all of those things. But it's almost like you have this idea that, well, because Ole Miss hasn't been here, they should just sacrifice their future because they may never get back here. And what competitor would ever look at – if you're Keith Carter, how could you possibly look at your football program and say out loud, you know what, we're going to suck for the next 10 years, so we might as well just let him try to win because we'll never get back here. That's not how a competitor thinks, but I think part of it is simply people look down on Ole Miss because it lacks the history that LSU and Alabama, et cetera, have, and have not noticed that Ole Miss in the portal era, in the NIL era, have really built a pretty solid foundation of financial resources and the ability to compete at a higher level than they have been before. They want them to act small time when Ole Miss is not acting small time anymore.
Moving forward, Michael, and Keith Carter was put in a tough spot, naming Pete Golding as the new head coach. To you, does this feel like a Matt Luke type of hire, or do you think that there is some potential and maybe a higher ceiling than some realize?
Well, there's potential for sure. I do think if they were given the opportunity to run a real coaching search, that Pete Golding would not have been the head coach at Ole Miss. I believe that. I think that this was more of a product of the timeline and Kiffin dragging his feet. And, I mean, Summerall was so far down the road with Florida that there was no way they could have gotten in on those sweepstakes. And they they tried to do as much coaching search as they could before Kiffin actually decided that he was leaving, but there's only so much you can do, and they really wanted Kiffin to return, so they couldn't do a coaching search, especially when you have Kiffin threatening the staff to, hey, if you don't come with me now, you're not going to have a job. Pete Golding getting hired has preserved the staff, not only for the playoff run coming up here in a couple of weeks, but for the future. I mean, the entire defensive staff, besides Chris Kiffin, is staying. There was a thought that the entire offensive staff at Ole Miss was going with Lane Kiffin. John Garrison, who had his family visit Baton Rouge yesterday, signed a deal, long-term deal with Ole Miss this morning to coach the offensive line. Apparently, Charlie Weiss Jr. is likely to coach Ole Miss moving forward, even though he did hop on the plane to Baton Rouge. So promoting Pete Golding has preserved what they currently have. I don't know how this is going to work. I think it's a high ceiling and low floor situation. His recruiting is really, really good. There's a reason that Ole Miss's high school recruiting on the defensive side of the ball has been the strength when it comes to that perspective of roster building. I mean, I think his ability to build a staff will be good. He's never been a head coach before. And you've seen it work in some places. I mean, it's working at Georgia Tech. It worked at Notre Dame. It worked at Ohio State, promoting from within. But it's failed at places. It failed at Mississippi State. You mentioned Matt Luke. It failed at Ole Miss before. High ceiling, low floor for Pete Golding. There's a lot to like, but there's a lot of questions.
Michael Borkey from Sports Talk Mississippi joining us here on Three Man Front on the Higginbotham Hotline. So I wanted to get your opinion or just what you've heard from people around the program, because tonight we are going to get the penultimate edition of the college football playoff rankings. I think we all agree, regardless, Ole Miss is going to be in. They certainly should be in, regardless of this whole Lane Kiffin drama. But do you believe that the playoff committee tonight, will they ding Ole Miss for the departure of Lane Kiffin? Do you think they drop a couple of spots? What's your thoughts on that going into the rankings tonight?
This is the most fascinating college football playoff rankings that have been released, because it's an unprecedented thing. People are comparing this to Florida State, and it's wrong. Obviously, it was a 14 playoff for Florida State versus a 12. Florida State only dropped one spot, but more importantly, we got a 2-game sample size of what Florida State would look like without Travis at quarterback, and they still won their games. In fact, I actually argued at the time that Florida State, despite his injury, should have made it, because an undefeated power conference champion belonged in the playoff regardless if their quarterback was hurt. That was my opinion. I'm sure your audience disagrees with that. But we got to see what Florida State looked like without him, and it was worse. Offensively, they were worse without him. We don't know yet what Ole Miss will look like without Lane Kiffin. I think it'd be fair to expect offensively they do take a step backward. But the question is, how much worse are they going to be? We don't have a sample size. We haven't seen it. Is it worth one spot? Is it worth 5 spots? If so, why? Why would you drop Ole Miss behind Oklahoma, who they beat in Norman, but keep them ahead of BYU? So the committee's in a really difficult spot. If you take Hunter Yurachek at his word, which, to be honest with you, I don't trust any committee chair at this point, especially an athletic director. But he did say last week that if they don't have the data point, they're not going to consider it. But will they change their mind now that you've actually seen Lane Kiffin leave? I don't know. I err on the side of you shouldn't punish a team for something that you think might be the case, because we haven't seen it. But who knows what's going to happen in that room? They change their minds all the time. They have rankings that don't make sense all the time. I think the team has earned it, but this is unprecedented. We'll find out tonight. A lot of people around here are kind of on edge about it, though.
Michael, before we let you go, I got to ask you, because I've seen multiple reports on this, and we're all dog lovers here on Three Man Front. What is the status of Juice?
So this one has hit me hard, by the way, because I just had to put down my dog last week. And
so sorry.
To find out that Lane Kiffin has left behind his lab has blown my mind. So Wild Rose Kennels is the breeder that he got Juice from. and they're a world class hunting dog breeding outlet. I mean, they're outstanding. Juice at one point was Lane Kiffin's dog, and he still technically is his dog, but he has been under the care of Wild Rose for at least a couple of years, and he's just kind of been a kind of a prop almost, not a full-time resident at the Kiffin house, at least over the last year plus. But right now, as of this week, the dog was left behind and living with the people at Wild Rose. Part of me wonders if the pushback is going to be so strong that he's going to fly a plane back to Oxford and pick up Juice and take him to Baton Rouge. But he did leave Juice behind, and has not been a full-time owner of the dog for some period of time.
I think that tells us all what kind of person we're dealing with. It does.
I'm flabbergasted. How can you leave your dog behind? I can't. I've been emotional about the dogs already, man, and hearing that he left his dog behind, it was like, gosh, you're so lucky that you're an elite football coach that can win football games.
Could you not claim neglect and then get the state of Mississippi involved, where Juice is now in protective services or whatever? I don't know. I mean,
I think Wild Rose should step in. I mean, the women's basketball coach at Ole Miss, Coach Yo is what she's affectionately called, has been going back and forth on Twitter with Wild Rose saying, hey, look, I'll take him. Like, I want the dog. So
I was about to say, that would be the fastest adopted dog in the history of
ever.
The world if he was made available to an Ole Miss fan.
He could live at the Roberts house tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I say, he loves to troll. It's his favorite thing. If he never comes back for this dog, I would keep having him on the field. Yeah, keep him around the facility.
Yes,
Remind
absolutely.
everybody that Lane Kiffin left a dog behind.
Oh, you know what would be great? Find something you could do on social media, and then you actually do the leg raise.
Oh, yeah, have the dog peeing on something?
Yep.
Yep.
That'd be great.
Just like the Egg Bowl.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Lane loves
You like
social
the Egg
media.
Bowl?
Let's see if he likes that.
Yeah.
Well, he hasn't loved social media lately. He has expressed both privately and publicly some that he has not loved. And, I mean, you guys saw it after the Egg Bowl confronting Ben Garrett. The criticism has gotten to him over the last few weeks.
Well, Michael, one thing's for sure this time of the year, and us in the sports talk business, I know you probably would rather have a nice, quiet December getting ready for the college football playoff, but, man, the content every day, you got to love it, right?
You got to love it. I mean, the silver lining to all this is, it's fun. It's dramatic and all that stuff. And Ole Miss fans, which is about half our audience, as you can imagine, is frustrated. But, I mean, it's kind of fun to talk about a guy abandoning his dog on the radio for a couple hours. So
that is Michael Borkey. You can hear him weekday afternoons, Sports Talk Mississippi. Michael, many thanks. Happy holidays. And who knows, maybe Alabama will get an opportunity to be in the CFP and come over to Oxford and play in the first round. That'd be fun.
Oh, man, that'd be something. And we'll be doing shows up there. So if you guys are making the trip, we'd love to collaborate.
Absolutely. That sounds like fun. Give everyone our best, Michael. Appreciate it very much.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
Thanks. That's Michael Borkey from Sports Talk Mississippi. The headline, Juice has been abandoned by Lane Kiffin. More three-man front on Jocks. Well, you heard it just moments ago here on Jocks, the breaking news. Juice, the lovable dog, has been abandoned by Lane Kiffin. He got on the plane, went to Baton Rouge, but left the dog.
That's the best thing that could have happened to Juice.
I know how sad my dog is every day when I leave for work for 4 hours. I don't even want to imagine what's going through Juice's head right now.
I think Juice is well taken care of.
I do too, but
I think Juice is probably better off. Maybe it's better than Lane.
Maybe so.
Lane, what do you think Lane's going home and spending time with Juice at night when he finally gets home?
no.
When he finally gets home?
Yeah. At night, in the morning, whenever.
No, don't think he's – no.
Juice is going to be just fine.
He will be. He'll go to a good home, hopefully.
And that's cool.
Maybe Coach Yo.
Yeah, Coach Yo decides to, hey, step up and take the dog.
I would be all for it. I like – especially for the LSU game next year, he's got to be there. Got to be there.
Yes.
Well,
What if you saw him, they take him off the leash, and he runs over and just attacks Lane Kiffin on the other side of the field?
They train him
for
to
being
do that?
abandoned, yeah.
Or goes and pees on the ball bag.
That's poor Juice.
Why don't they just train another dog the same breed, but you, like, teach it to –
Oh, so he thinks it's Juice, but it's
Yes.
actually an attack dog? I like
Yes.
that. Well, he didn't see it enough, obviously. He wouldn't know it was any different.
Does Lane does Lane get another dog when he's at LSU?
Heck no. Gets a tiger.
Little Tiger?
Yeah. Names it Layla.
Little Tiger, and he abandons it when it grows up? Just turns it loose there in Baton Rouge?
Yeah, probably. Maybe he'll get a cat. They take care of themselves.
Maybe a ferret for Lane.
The
On a
other big
leash.
story in college football this morning, a big-time flip. Tomorrow is National Signing Day, but the number one quarterback in high school, he flipped his commitment from Georgia. He's a 5-star plus commitment. He has been committed to Georgia for a while. He has flipped to Vanderbilt. Never thought I would say that in my career,
No.
but here we are.
I would say that obviously he values his education. Georgia's got a good school. But, yeah, Vanderbilt, you're going to be in on some of these guys. And now they got NIL money to play with, Clark Lee.
Here's my question. Has Jared Curtis given up women yet? Because that's what we heard about the backup quarterback this year for Vanderbilt, right? He gave up women, and he got focused, and he started to show improvement. So I need to know that Jared Curtis has given up women before he heads to Nashville.
I hope not altogether.
Well, no, not altogether. Just for the season.
It seems like Vanderbilt, Diego Pavi, he's kind of set the standard. You play with a little bit of an edge.
Yeah,
you
maybe
got
so.
a little bit of that wild hair in you.
Got to have that pent-up aggression.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Diego Pavia is now the Vegas favorite to win the Heisman Trophy.
Can we change the bet to the Heisman?
I knew that was coming.
We should have put that caveat in there earlier.
If he is he the betting favorite really to win the Heisman?
Certainly is.
Yeah, I can't throw out that. I was going to say I'd get one ear pierced,
Oh, that's great. Yeah,
but no,
that's great.
no. The original bet was the double lobes wearing for a month if they played in the national championship game.
Pat, will you take this revised deal of just one earring?
What, if he wins the Heisman?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that sounds great. All right,
No, we're not doing
done
that.
deal. Thank you, Landrum.
We're not doing
That's
that.
very nice of you.
Not going to do it. We do have a lot of interesting texts that have come in pertaining to Lane Kiffin, juice, and hot yoga. The text line is open, 205-834-9450. The first one, Lane Kiffin is a narcissist and tries to say that he prayed, etc. I want to know who he prayed to, because I've never not one time heard him mention Jesus. He's the only way. Also, if Charlie Weiss Jr. had the integrity or morals whatsoever, he would have stayed and coached that team and stayed with Ole Miss, or he would get a job probably anywhere he wanted. I'm not going to question his spirituality.
To be fair,
His
what
faith.
I understand with Charlie Weiss Jr. is that is somebody that came with Lane when he left Alabama. He was at Alabama and he's been with Lane essentially his entire career. So, I mean, maybe you're not happy about his decision to leave, but there's obviously a strong relationship there between the two of them.
Yeah, and I saw his contract. He signed a 3-year deal with LSU worth about $2 million a year.
Charlie Weiss Jr.?
He did.
That is a nice deal right there. that'll pay off. That'll work.
Someone saying, bigger question, Conrad, has Lane given up on women?
No. Based on everything I've seen on social media the last 48 hours, no, he has not.
There seem to be a lot of sad women in Oxford posting stuff, like very sad photos and stuff on TikTok of a bunch of selfies they took with Lane Kiffin. And
No, I hear Baton Rouge is nice this time of year.
Pertaining to that, just you boys want to guesstimate how many memories he's leaving behind?
Ooh, 6 years?
Yep.
70.
wow.
Pat?
One memory a month?
There's a lot. Have the stories already started to trickle out from people who've been keeping things under wraps in his 6 years, Pat?
Oh, I mean, there's plenty of stuff you can find, whether it's validated or not. I have no idea.
Interesting.
There are a lot of either legitimate or really well photoshopped images on the internet.
Again, if you leave for a rival, another school, people are going to be upset.
Yes.
Some people are going to be fired up, angry. But the way he left, now you're giving people a reason to retaliate and to pile on and to make your life as uncomfortable as possible.
Yeah, I can't read it, but somebody just texted in they are not a big fan of Charlie Weiss.
Okay.
Not a fan whatsoever. But if you're an Ole Miss fan, you're probably not a Charlie Weiss fan right now. So
this one says Lane Kiffin is literally rent-free in y'all's head. No, not rent-free. It just happens to be the top headline that we have seen for the past 2 weeks.
I was about to say I've never seen Lane Kiffin beat a team that I rooted for. So
Gavin says we don't need Jared Curtis, Landrum. In case you missed it, well, Gavin, first of all, is a big Georgia fan, but Georgia lost the number one quarterback in the country. He flipped to Vanderbilt.
I'm sure Kirby's smart, and then we'll be able to. Something tells me they'll be able to attract another top quarterback recruit. I think they're going to be all right. Plus, you got another year of Gunner, right? So they're fine.
If Ole Miss goes on to win a national championship, do they erect a statue of Pete Golding? I think they should.
You better believe they will.
Oh, this year? Absolutely. And with juice. Pete Golding and juice.
Posey says, calm down, Conrad.
We
don't really know what Saban said to Lane, LOL.
I think we can. Again, no, we do not know exactly what he said, but I think there's about 3 or 4 options that all essentially mean the same thing.
This one reads, hooray for Ole Miss for telling Kiffin to get out now. Hooray for you guys for calling out Saban. But those guys think that they're above everybody else. And the final question as we continue with the text is Ryan Williams already set to go to LSU?
My personal opinion, I would say it is maybe not trending towards him being in Tuscaloosa next year, but time will tell. It's very clear he has some things that he needs to continue to work on and develop to be a top-tier elite receiver in college, and we'll see if he continues that journey at Alabama or elsewhere.
We will continue with your text messages on the Courtesy GMC text line. Landrum and Conrad at Social Taco, me and Molly here in studio. Jocks, more three-man front. At the top of the hour, we're going to go out to Waco, Texas, and we're going to find out what's going on with the Big 12 as David Smoke from 365 Sports will join the program. All that straight ahead on Three-Man Front. It is 11:35. Welcome back in. This is Three Man Front on a Taco Tuesday. Me and Molly in studio high atop Red Mountain. It's Social Taco today. Conrad and Landrum. Get by and see them. They'll be there until 2 o'clock. The holiday sales event at Courtesy GMC is going on right now, and if you've been waiting for the right time to buy, this is it. Oh, it's big. How big? Try up to $15,000 off MSRP on Sierras in stock, and they've got over 100 to choose from. AT4s, Denali's, SLTs, you name it, they've got it on the lot. They are ready to roll. If you're more of an SUV person, Courtesy GMC has you covered there too. Save thousands on brand new Yukons, Terrains, and Acadias. And when you buy a new GMC at Courtesy, it comes with a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty. That's peace of mind for the long haul. So shop the huge selection there on the 9-acre lot at Courtesy GMC. Check them out online at courtesybirmingham.com, right off of I-459, exit 32 in Trussville. Let's get back to your text messages on that Courtesy GMC text line. Landrum, I know many folks are chiming in on a lot of different subjects on this Tuesday.
They are. A lot of them have to do with Lane. This one reads, I think it's funny how much effort Lane put into cleaning up his reputation, and now, after all this, his reputation is worse than it's ever been. He probably has some betting scandal behind the scenes. I mean, his dog's name is Juice, former dog.
It is interesting that, and you know, maybe it's just a coincidence, but the timing of obviously, you know, the Ryan McGee E60 documentary, just all of these things, it really does feel like he's tried to at least put up the front that he is a changed person, but, you know, true colors always seem to be revealed, right?
Yep. JJ asking the question because he said he's just tuning back in these last couple of days. Pat, was this a choice by Lane or a stipulation by LSU to not continue to coach at Ole Miss?
No, LSU had no problem whatsoever with him coaching at Ole Miss. Think about it. LSU was like, this is going to be a walking billboard for LSU for every single moment that Ole Miss is playing in the college football playoff, because that is the main story. So LSU had no issues whatsoever. It was Ole Miss that had a problem with it. They didn't want it to be a walking billboard for LSU.
And LSU's even willing to pay out the bonuses that Lane Kiffin could have potentially earned if Ole Miss makes a run here in the playoff, which is still wild to me.
Hastings said, I heard doctors were checking on Ryan Williams yesterday, trying to see if they could get his head out of his tail end. Evan says he's got to be careful about talking about erecting stuff at Ole Miss. How many statues are on that campus currently? Is it Archie's? Trent Lott?
I'm not. Maybe
Let's see.
John Grisham, maybe? I don't know.
They do not
William
have any.
Faulkner?
This says they don't have any. For football players, at least. It says none.
Chris asking the question, how big of a loss is Jamarcus Shepard to Bama?
I mean, that's a pretty big loss. I will say I think it's a little bit easier to stomach now because Ryan Grubb is there, at least for now. And I'm not just talking because of offensive play calling, but, you know, Jamarcus Shepard was kind of that guy in the first year before Ryan Grubb got to Tuscaloosa. He was kind of the get-in-your-face, you know, I guess kind of what we've heard Kalen DeBoer had to mold himself into this year. That's just who Jamarcus Shepard is naturally. And I think Ryan Grubb, he has that side of him too, so that helps replace what you're losing in Shepard. But certainly he's one of the best receivers coaches in the country, so it'll hurt.
For sure. Haven't heard, but does Lane have a DC for LSU with Golding staying at Ole Miss? If not, do you see him going there with Jeremy Pruitt now being eligible to coach? Is he an option?
He's trying to keep Blake Baker, right? Am I mistaken on that, Pat?
No, they're trying to. They love him down there, right?
Yep.
I was about to say nothing official, but they're obviously trying to keep him.
And this is a good one. I just saw this. John Sumrall is hiring Brad White, the defensive coordinator at Kentucky.
That's a good one.
Oh, there you go.
That's a really good hire.
And going back to Blake Baker for a second, LSU DC, he is also a candidate for the Tulane head coaching job. So
yeah, supposedly he interviewed for Tulane, like in the last 24 hours.
Yeah.
Let's see. As insecure as Lane is, imagine how insecure Charlie is. Maybe so.
Yeah, I don't know if that necessarily translates to Charlie, but
Do y'all think that Auburn made the right head coach, right choice for head coach? Someone's asking. Well, remains to be seen. I think that Alex Golesh provides excitement. He's a young guy, doesn't have an extensive track record, but we kind of talked about this. If you're these schools that were looking for head coaches, do you want the guy that's already fat and happy, that's gotten the good contract, that's experienced that, or do you want the guy that's ascending and going up the ladder? Doesn't mean it's going to work, but I think Alex Golesh is refreshing. Some of the things that he's saying, it seems like he's an all-business approach, and that's what he's getting paid to do. Come in, win football games, consistently win football games. Put fannies in the seats, keep the money coming in.
yeah, I think once it became clear that John Summerall was going to go to Florida instead for, a variety of reasons, I'm sure. Yeah, I think of what you had in front of you, I think Alex Golesh was a really good hire by Auburn.
Let's see. Looking forward to when we can stop talking about Lane Kiffin and the dog and talk about some upcoming games this weekend or anything else. Well, you're in luck. We're going to talk a lot about that.
And more about Juice, hopefully.
And more about Juice. We're going to be getting minute-by-minute updates on Juice and how he's doing there.
They should put up a, one of those like live stream cameras at the kennel so people can check in on Juice and make sure he's doing okay.
There is a Johnny Vault statue who was a head coach.
Okay, there is for a coach. Okay,
Yep.
There you go.
Max reminds us you're going to hear over and over the next week a deluge of stories of Lane and folks there in Oxford. More fun with the Lane conversation. Some of them we cannot read.
No. Text about Lane Kiffin that we couldn't read on the air?
Yep. This one about the college football playoff. If there is even a slight chance Bama gets left out because of a loss in conference championship, couldn't they just turn down the invitation to the SEC championship game, ensuring that they make it at 10-2? How would that go over, Pat? That phone call's made from Greg Byrne to the commissioner's office downtown.
Yeah, I don't think that's possible, but
Yeah, I don't know if you can legally do that. I also think that would be followed with Greg Burns telling you, go play in the game and we'll take care of the rest.
Someone asking our thoughts on John Summerall getting the job at Florida but still coaching at Tulane. Thank you, Ian.
Well, I think Tulane's obviously a different circumstance than Ole Miss. Also, maybe
And if Florida's good with it?
Yeah, if Florida's good with it, and also maybe don't make a complete and total ass of yourself for the month preceding your departure and you wanting to coach your team in the playoff after you.
yeah, not to mention the fact
Maybe that would help.
that Tulane has not been a member of the Southeastern Conference since the 60s. So that's not a conflict like it is between between Ole Miss and LSU, not to mention the fact that Florida and Tulane don't play every year. Ole Miss and LSU do. A little bit of difference there.
All right, continue the conversation on the text line. We always appreciate the text. 205-834-9450, Pat.
Yes, Ole Miss just announced that they will have a press conference tomorrow at 2 o'clock where Pete Golding will be announced officially as the head coach of the Ole Miss Rebels.
Nice.
Good for I really am happy for Pete. We'll see how it all works out, but
Does he take a shot
It's a
at
good
Lane
opportunity for him.
indirectly?
I don't think so. I don't think Pete's that way.
yeah, I could see them just, hey, we're not going to talk about, do not mention Lane Kiffin at all. I'm sure the media will want to ask some questions, but yeah, I think they avoid Lane and bringing him up.
You know, watching that press conference yesterday, the thing that I was surprised about, and maybe they would just, if someone from Mississippi, let's say whether you're a newspaper writer for the Clarion Ledger or you write for the Tupelo Daily Journal, whatever the case may be, I wonder if they made the trip down there and they were quickly told by Michael Bonnet, the award-winning sports information director, maybe he told them not to. What? What are you laughing at?
No, nothing, sorry.
I was just clearing my throat.
Uh-huh.
Sinus is acting up.
Oh,
That's right.
Pat. Gotcha again.
I was just curious if they pretty much told them, don't even waste your time coming in here because you're not going to be given the platform to actually ask a legitimate question to Lane Kiffin.
It did feel like a lot of the questions he got yesterday were of the slow pitch softball variety.
Oh, no. No.
Shocking, I know.
Think anybody's going to go against the flagship university of the state of Louisiana?
Not yet. You get trounced on the road in Oxford next
I was about to
season.
say, you lose to Ole Miss, then yeah.
By the way, Vegas has Ole Miss as a 3.5-point favorite for next year.
That's awesome that we already have that.
Oh, yeah, we've already got all sorts of prop bets for that game already.
I love it. I love it.
All right, we will continue on from Social Taco and high atop Red Mountain here in studio at Jocks. This is Three Man Front. You know, so many people have been asking the question, what's going on with Ryan Williams? Played 30-some-odd snaps out of 73 on the offensive side of the ball against Auburn the other night. Matter of fact, I saw a podcast. I think it was with Shannon Sharp, and he had Isaiah Horton on literally after the Iron Bowl. And Sharp was asking Isaiah Horton, what's going on with Ryan Williams? And, of course, Isaiah Horton took the high road, basically said that there was nothing going on with Ryan Williams. And so moments ago, meeting with the media, Jeremy Bernard was asked about Ryan Williams, and this is a direct quote from Jeremy Bernard. He has a great mindset. He knows how important he is to this team, how valuable he is. We just got to be able to put him in positions to win. We will. He's not tripping. He's the same guy, end of quote.
All right.
We will see on Saturday. I maintain I just think there's some parts of his game on the mental side of things that have taken a hit this year and that they are working through, and that's why, we'll see if he can get that fixed, but he's certainly not the player that everyone thought he was. Doesn't mean he can't be in the future, but right now he's not.
Do you guys think it's the little things he's not doing? Is it the offense has, I guess it's kind of morphed into something else where other guys are getting more opportunities?
Well, that's a good question. I don't know. Was a Jalen Milroe kind of scramble around, make plays on the run, improvise? Not that Ty Simpson doesn't do that, but it seems like it's more structured this year. Did that allow a guy like Ryan Williams to improvise himself?
Maybe so.
I don't know. He's definitely not the same player that we saw at times last year.
I will say one thing that I've seen pointed out by people on social media, and maybe it's nothing, but it's an interesting comparison. So Ryan Grubb was the offensive coordinator with the Seattle Seahawks last year, right? Their best receiver is Jackson Smith-Njigba. We all remember he was at Ohio State a few years ago. Last year, they used Jackson Smith-Njigba almost exclusively in the slot. And he was a good receiver last year for the Seahawks. This year, they moved him back outside. He's now leading the NFL in receiving yards without Ryan Grubb. They're playing him in the slot. So I've seen some people bringing up that comparison of Ryan Williams has played a lot more in the slot this year, so maybe that's just not where he needs to be. I know they've moved him around, but I just thought that was an interesting comparison of what you saw with Ryan Grubb last year in Seattle and now seeing how that's worked without him versus Ryan Williams last year. I think we all agree was a little bit more of a factor on the offensive side of the ball than he has been this year. So maybe it's nothing, but food for thought.
Well, if Alabama is going to pull off the double win against Georgia this year, I think Ryan Williams needs to be an active participant on Saturday, especially with all the dinged-up guys on the offensive side. I've been told that Cuevas is going to be out until maybe, if they make the college football playoff, maybe he returns, maybe before Christmas. Meanwhile, I was told this morning that Jam Miller is out.
Yeah, so we're talking about three guys. Ryan Williams is available, but three guys that have been really, really big for your offense at different times. Going against this Georgia team for a second time.
Yeah, and you remember, Cuevas obviously had a role in that game and helped out a lot there. Jam Miller, he was the one that, that final drive when they're milking the clock, right? He was the focal point of the offense on that drive and had the game-sealing catch there to run the clock out. So, yeah, that's going to be tough for Alabama to overcome. We know Daniel Hill, he'll step in. A.K. Deere continuing to get more looks. He's going to have to step up in a big way. There's a lot of young guys that are talented, but it's a lot to ask these guys to step up in Atlanta against Georgia with your playoff hopes maybe on the line.
Early in the week, and I know we're gonna talk more about this game as the week goes on, but early in the week it just feels like second time around, the guys that we just mentioned that are dinged up, it feels like this is going to be a low-scoring game.
Yeah, I would say it's probably going to be somewhat similar to the first meeting between these two teams. I will also bring up the last time that Alabama and Georgia played twice in a season. It didn't go as well for Alabama the second time. So we will see, but
and I'll be honest with you. Right now, my gut tells me Georgia by a nose.
And I think that's perfectly fair. I would take Alabama strictly because Georgia has not shown that they can beat Alabama.
Yeah.
I think Georgia's playing better football right now than Alabama, but I think you go and look at that Georgia Tech game, and that version of Georgia was not the team that I was expecting to see, just like I think a lot of us would have said the same thing about Alabama, especially offensively in the Iron Bowl.
Do you trust Gunnar Stockton right now more than you do Ty Simpson?
Oh, man, that's a tough one. I think overall, I think Gunnar Stockton's maybe playing better football, but if you're telling me fourth down at the end of the game, I need somebody to come through and make a big throw for me, I'm still taking Ty Simpson. Go to the Iron Bowl, right? He didn't have a great game, but when you needed him on 4th and 2 late in that game, threw a touchdown. So
we will continue on discussing the Alabama-Georgia game coming up this weekend. But coming up in just a couple minutes, we're going to go out west to the southwest, Waco, Texas. Our good friend David Smoke from 365 Sports, he is going to join the program. We'll get his feelings about the college football playoff rankings, what's going on between Texas Tech and BYU. And should BYU, even if they lose to Texas Tech, should they leapfrog Alabama and still make the college football playoff? We'll get into that with David Smoke next. More from Social Taco. Pat, Molly, Conrad, Landrum with you till 2 o'clock here on Jocks.